Hi guys, welcome back to Aisha's Academy. And today's video we're going to be going through sine rule, cosine rule and area of a triangle that is not a right angle. So let's get right into it. Okay, so when it comes to using the sine rule, the cosine rule and area of a triangle formula, and I'm not talking about r half base times height, we basically use it for working out lengths and angles of non-right angle triangles. So this is an example. So the angles, I'm going to label them as capital letters A, and you may be familiar with this on your formula sheets. So, and then the lengths, I'm going to label them with small caps. So normally if it was a right angle triangle, to work out the angle or the length, we could use Pythagoras or SOHCAHTOA. But when it's not a right angle triangle, we use sine, cosine rule and area of a triangle. So this formula I'm writing out is the sine rule. A, our length A over sine angle A equals B over sine B equals C over sine C. But when you're actually using it to work out in an exam question, you don't have to use the C over sine C bit. You can just use the A over sine A equals B over sine B, and I'll explain why in a second. Then our cosine rule, this is our formula, A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cos A. And then we are so used to seeing area of a triangle in our maths growing up in life as half base times height, which is correct if your triangle is a right angle, but when your triangle is not a right angle, we use half AB sine C. Now, rule of thumb, in an exam question, to know whether you're using sine or cosine rule, if you have in total two angles and two lengths, including the one that you're finding, use sine rule. This is my rule of thumb. If in an exam question you have one angle and three lengths, inclusive of the one that you're finding out, use cosine rule. And this will really help you. So now that you understand this, we're just going to crack on into some practice questions. So example 1. So in this scenario it says work out the area of triangle ABC, but notice how our triangle is not right angle. So we're going to be using the formula half AB sine C. Now, to understand the labeling of these letters on the triangle, I'm now going to label it. Our big capital C is the angle they give you. So that one angle. Then the AB is either length. It doesn't matter. It could be the 6 or the 7. Then we're now going to substitute those values. So it's going to be half times 6 times 7 times sine 60 degrees. Put that all into your calculator and you'd end up with an answer of 8.2 centimeters squared. Remember, because it wants it to 3 significant figures. Then this question has a part B. So in our part B it says work out the length AB. So now it wants us to work out the missing length AB on the triangle. So in total we have one angle, which is 60 degrees, and we have three lengths, the 6, the 7 centimeters and the one that we're trying to work out. So because of that we're going to end up using cosine rule. See what I did there? So now I'm going to rewrite the formula for cosine rule. I always like to have formulas written out so I know exactly what I'm substituting into. Keep it all nice and neat. So now I'm going to substitute everything. So with cosine rule, your A, the little a is usually the length that you're trying to work out. Then your B and C will be the two lengths that you're given. Substitute that all in, and then your cos A is the angle that we have in the question, the one angle. Put that all into your calculator. You should be left with the 3 significant figures. Oh, not yet, because remember you have to square root that all, because a squared is equal to all of that, but you need to square root everything. So make sure in your calculator put square root everything inside of it. Then that should give you an answer to 3 significant figures of 6.56 centimeters. So we're going to crack on into another example, example 2. So in this question it says calculate the length of PR. So I'm going to put a question mark of where the length PR is. So one thing that's special about this question is that it has the two lines to show that the two lengths are the same. It's showing that it's an isosceles triangle. So that means that they have the same length. So if it's 8 centimeters there, it's going to be 8 centimeters there. So essentially now it's changed the game, because we have 3 lengths, the 8, and the one that we're working out, and one angle. So we're going to be using, again, cosine rule because we have 3 lengths and 1 angle. This rule of thumb really helps. Again, writing out the formula so I know what we're substituting into. Because the PR is what we're working out, that's going to be our A. And then our 8 and the other 8 is going to be our B and our C. So substituting that all in, and then remember we have to square root all of this to actually work out what A is. So then make sure you put the square root before you put it all into your calculator. And remember the capital A is the angle. So that would leave you with an answer of 3 significant figures of A is equal to 15.0, because remember it's 3 significant figures. And our last example for this video. Okay, so it wants us to work out the length AB. So again, I'm going to label AB as X this time. Question mark or X or whatever you want to label it is fine. So in this case, we've got 2 lengths, the 10.2 centimeters in the X and 2 angles. So we're using sine rule because we have 2 lengths and 2 angles in total. So sine rule, I've labelled the little a and the big A, and I've labelled the little b and the big B. Now I mentioned earlier that with sine rule you can just use the A over sine A equals B over sine B. You don't have to include the sine C, the C over sine C, because you're just dealing with 2 lengths and 2 angles when it comes to working it out in an exam scenario. So now I'm going to substitute everything in. So my little a is 10.2, my sine A is sine 134 degrees, my little b is the x that I'm trying to work out, and my sine B is sine 28 degrees. So rearranging this now, it's going to end up changing into the 10.2 over sine 134 degrees times by sine 28 degrees. And if I put that all into my calculator to work out what my x is, that's going to leave me with 6.66 centimeters. And I hope that was really useful. So just remember the 2 lengths and 2 angles for sine rule, the 1 angle and 3 lengths for cosine rule. And remember that for area of a triangle that is not a right angle triangle is half AB sine C. So I hope that was really useful, and thanks for watching.